वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां विषजे भवरोगिणां निधये सर्वविद्यानां दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। साक्षात्कृतं दयानन्दं परमार्थस्वरूपिणं तत्त्वज्ञानप्रशास्तारं प्रणतोऽस्मि परं पदम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। The class today. You can repeat. Vasudevendra Yogindram.
Vasudevendra Yogindram.
Natva Jnanapradam Gurum.
Natva Jnanapradam Gurum.
Mukshunam Hitarthaya.
Mukshunam Hitarthaya.
Tattvabodho Vidiyate.
Tattvabodho Vidiyate.
Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampannadikarinam.
Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampannadikarinam.
Moksha Sadhana Bhutam.
Moksha Sadhana Bhutam.
Tattva Viveka Prakaram.
Tattva Viveka Prakaram.
Vakshyamaha.
Vakshyamaha.
Sadhana Chatushtayam Kim.
Sadhana Chatushtayam Kim.
Nitya Nityavastu Vivekaha.
Nitya Nityavastu Vivekaha.
Mutrartha Palabhoga Viragaha.
Yaha Mutrartha Palabhoga Viragaha.
Shamadhi Shatka Sampattihi.
Shamadhi Shatka Sampattihi.
Mumukshutvam Cheti.
Mumukshutvam Cheti.
Nitya Nityavastu Vivekaha Kaha.
Nitya Nityavastu Vivekaha Kaha.
Nityavastu Ekam Brahma.
Nityavastu Ekam Brahma.
Tadvyatiriktam Sarvam Anityam.
Tadvyatiriktam Sarvam Anithyam.
Ayam eva Nitya Nityavastu Vivekaha.
अयम् एव नित्यानित्यवस्तुविवेकः
विरागः कः
विरागः कः
इह स्वर्गभोगेषु इच्छाराहित्यम्
इह सर्वभोगेषु इच्छाराहित्यम्
शमादिषट्कसम्पत्तिः का
शमादिषट्कसम्पत्तिः का
शमः दमः उपरमः
शमः दमः उपरमः
तितिक्षा श्रद्धा समादानं च इति
तितिक्षा श्रद्धा समादानं च इति
शमः कः
शमः कः
मनोनिग्रहः
निग्रहः
दमः कः
दमः कः
चक्षुरादि इन्द्रियनिग्रहः
चक्षुरादि इन्द्रियनिग्रहः
परमः कः
उपरमः कः
स्वधर्मानुष्ठानम् एव
स्वधर्मानुष्ठानम् एव
तितिक्षा का
तितिक्षा का
शीतोष्णसुखदुःखादिसहिष्णुत्वम्
शीतोष्णसुखदुःखादिसहिष्णुत्वम्
श्रद्धा कीदृशी
श्रद्धा कीदृशी
वेदान्तवाक्येषु विश्वासः श्रद्धा
गुरुवेदान्तवाक्येषु विश्वासः श्रद्धा
समाधानं किम्
समाधानं किम्
चित्तैकाग्रता
चित्तैकाग्रता
मुमुक्षुत्वं किम्
मुमुक्षुत्वं किम्
मोक्षो मे भूयात् इति इच्छा
मोक्षो मे भूयात् इति इच्छा
एतत् साधनचतुष्टयम्
एतत् साधनचतुष्टयम्
ततः तत्त्वविवेकस्य अधिकारिणः भवन्ति
ततः तत्त्वविवेकस्य अधिकारिणः भवन्ति
You can mute your mic now. Under Shamadhi Shatka Sampatti, we have seen Shamaha, Damaha, Uparamaha. The last sixfold, the discipline, among the last sixfold discipline, we saw the Uparama, which means Sudharma Anushtanam. We have seen for more than two classes on that, Uparama. Important. After Uparamaha, now comes the next one, the next important discipline, which is Titiksha. Titiksha ka. What is Titiksha? Shitoshna Sukhadukhadi Sahishnutvam. Shita Ushna Sukha Dukha Adi Sahishnutvam. Sahishnutvam. Sahishnutvam means the capacity to put up with the unpleasant experiences. Unpleasant experiences like Shita meaning cold, Ushna, heat, Sukha, Dukkha, Adi. The capacity to put up with experiences like heat and cold, pleasure and pain. Not only unpleasant experiences, capacity to put up with experiences. The experience we label it as pleasant or unpleasant, depending depending on our approach. We name it as pleasant or unpleasant. Experience being experience, so we name it. This is pleasant. This is unpleasant. So titiksha is the capacity to put up with that. And this titiksha is an important discipline, not only as a spiritual sadhaka, but also as a human being. It is very important because we have to often face painful experiences in life, particularly painful experiences in life. Therefore, titiksha is important. Savishnutvam means sahanam. Sahanam, capacity to put up. That's called sahanam, savishnutvam. Put up with what? Put up with pleasant situations, put up with pleasure, put up with sukhanubhavam, put up with nice clothes, put up with nice and delicious food, put up with beautiful ambience, put up with a beautiful house, or put up with caring people around, caring and loving people around. Or do you have to put up with visiting Hawaii during your vacations? Nobody says I'm putting up with pleasant situations. Pleasant situations one need not put up with because it is what one wants. One invites pleasant situations. So therefore, put up doesn't refer to pleasant situations and experiences, because nobody complains about pleasant experiences. When happiness comes, nobody complains about happiness. People complain only about unpleasant experiences of life. Therefore, here the author, he uses the word savishnutvam, which means to put up with things which are not pleasant. At the same time, since this is a part of sadhana chatushtayam, important discipline for a sadhaka who is in the pursuit of moksha, therefore, it is extended to put up with things even which are pleasant. Both. Even though we don't complain about pleasant experiences, as a spiritual sadhaka, we need to know how to conduct ourselves, even when we experience pleasant things in life. No over excitement when you enjoy pleasant experiences. You should not get too much excited when you enjoy pleasant things, when you enjoy happiness. That is also not good. It is another extreme. Similarly, no complaints even when you face unpleasant experiences. Pleasant or unpleasant, they are unavoidable in life. These are the pairs of opposite experiences. Sukhanubhavam or dukkhanubhavam, these are the pairs of opposite experiences. There are many pairs of opposites. Sukha, dukkha, labha, alabha, jaya, ajaya. These pairs of opposites It's called Dvandva in Sanskritam. Dvandva means pairs of opposites. Dvandva means that which has two things of opposite nature. It's called Dvandva. That is why in Sanskritam we have Dvivachanam also. Ekavachanam in Sanskrita Vyakaranam, Sanskrita language we have Dvivachanam, very peculiar Dvivachanam. Ramaha Ramau. So Dvivachanam. Because two things are there, two things of opposite nature. The whole world consists of only the pairs of opposites. So therefore, as a sadhaka, the capacity to put up not only with unpleasant experiences, but also with pleasant experiences, to accept both the experiences, to accept both the opposite experiences. That is very important. Even though we don't have any problem to accept pleasant experiences, to welcome pleasant experiences in our life, but still the author here, he advises to be balanced in the experience of pleasant situations also. That is why he says sukha dukkha. Sukhanubhava, even in times of the experience of sukham, as well as in times of experiences of dukkham, sagishnutvam, you put up with that. When you experience success, when you gain something, when you gain victory, you don't need to jump and hit the ceiling. Learning to accept the successful experience gracefully and attributing the success to so many factors which you don't know. So many factors contributed for the success, contributed for the victory, contributed for the gaining of something. So many factors are involved. If you appreciate those factors, those unseen, invisible factors in the name of Ishvara, then that will make you a humble person. That will make you a humble person and remain composed even in times of success and victory in all your attempts. Therefore, Sagishnatvam means both acceptance of the pairs of opposites without any overreaction, without any irritation, anger, or frustration. Accepting. That's called Sagishnatvam. Now you may ask, why are there pairs of opposites? Why it is there in our life? You cannot ask why, because it is there in the creation. Male, female, it is there. Ishvara, Maya, it is there. Sun, moon, the pairs are there. There is no coin with one side. A coin always will have two sides. That's a part of the creation. There is no coin with one side. You cannot ask for a coin with one side. A coin with one side doesn't exist. A coin will have a head and a tail, obverse and reverse. That is how a coin is. Similarly, in life also, you can never have a uniform and a constant experience, whether it is sukham or dukkham. Nobody experiences sukham for a length of time constantly from the birth to the death. Nobody is a sukhi or nobody is a dukhi. Nobody experiences sukham forever. Similarly, dukkham also. Nobody is successful all the time and nobody is a failure all the time. Nobody gains success all the time. Nobody fails also all the time. So the experience of sukham or dukkham, labha or alabha, gain or loss, jaya or ajaya, all these depend on so many factors, so many hidden, unknown factors over which we have no control. Therefore, we need to accept accept gracefully that life is a mixture of the experience of opposites, the dvandvas. Therefore, accepting that we should have the readiness to face the experiences squarely. Everyone will have to face painful experiences. Nobody would have escaped the experiences of pleasure as well as painful situations in life. When we read Itihasa and Purana, we find that the all people, whether they are good or bad, dharmika or adharmika, everyone has to confront this misery and pain. Nobody escapes. We know the story of Panchapandava. Panchapandava, from their very Janma onwards, they faced a lot of problems. The Kunti, the mother of Pandavas, her prayer to Krishna was that she wanted to have dukkham always. It's a very peculiar prayer. She wanted to have dukkham always. When she was asked why, she said that then only I would remember the Lord. Only when I experience dukkham, then only I will remember the Lord. If sukhanubhavam comes, then in the sukha, I may forget you. Therefore, for remembering you, let me have the experience of dukkham always. What a great prayer. Kunti is known for this prayer. In spite of knowing how painful it will be, still she asked for painful experiences to have the continuous remembrance of the Lord. It's an amazing prayer. Similarly, in spite of being powerful and a great, Yudhishthira, Arjuna, Bhima, and all others, they had to undergo the experience of dukkha. In Ramayana, we know how even the Lord Rama, being an avatara, he had to face dukkha all through his life. He did not have the uniform experiences of sukham. When he was about to be coronated, about to become the king, he was asked to go to the forest. And in the forest, there was continuous trouble for him. If Sita was kidnapped, and with great difficulty, he brought back Sita from Lanka. And when he returned back to Ayodhya and became the ruler again, still he could not continue to live with Sita. Even when she was pregnant, Rama had to send her to the forest. So therefore, would anyone have experience in life like Rama and Krishna, even though they were incarnations, they had to undergo tough situations, trials and tribulations all through their life. Bhagavan Krishna was born in a jail. His birth was in jail. And he was separated from his parents. From his birth onwards, he faced a lot of challenges and he could not live with his parents and he was criticized all through his life. And Yudhishthira, who was an embodiment of Dharma, he had to live in the forest for 14 long years, could not rule the kingdom over which he had right, could not, had to suffer had to undergo a lot of suffering because of Duryodhana and others. Similarly, Nala Damayanti, the famous story of Nala and Damayanti, they were the king and the queen, but still, how much they suffered in their life. So, this stories give an insight how these great people lived their life and encountered the experiences with mental composure. So, learning that life has got a lot of pleasurable and unpleasurable moments, whether we like it or not, accepting and learning to handle them with that certain mental composure. that requires a lot of sahanam, sagishnutvam, titiksha. Pleasure is a part of life. Pain is also a part of life. Failure is a part of life. Separation, part of life. Death, criticism, injury, all these are part and parcel of life. One cannot avoid them. One can never avoid them. However best one may try, however great the person may be, but one cannot avoid. So what cannot be avoided, that becomes a fact. That becomes a fact of life. And therefore, Dvandva becomes a fact of life. It is a fact. Dvandva is a fact. It is there in the creation. It is there. It is available as an experience for me. Therefore, with respect to facts, what we need to have is the proper approach, the proper attitude to accept the facts. Not accepting the fact, that is the cause of problem. Not accepting, resisting. Resistance alone causes pain. The resistance to pain, it's a very painful resistance that causes the problem. You don't want the pain. You want to dismiss the pain. The more you dismiss, there is more resistance, and the more it will be the pain. Therefore, when the pain or the fear comes, one needs to welcome it. Welcome the pain. Accept the pain. Pain is not a pain unless we resist it. If you resist, it will be a pain. If you accept and welcome, as you accept and welcome pleasant things, pleasant experiences, similarly you welcome this. When you welcome, it will not cause much damage. It will not cause much damage as you resist it. And so that you will be able to continue to be a sane person and approach the situation properly. So when you are able to accept, then you will have mental composure at least. Then you would be able to handle the situation properly. We don't complain about the opposite experiences. As long as it doesn't affect us, we don't complain. But we see it, and we say it is natural. Like fire is hot. We don't complain about fire, why it is hot. It is hot. This is nature. Ushnatvam is the nature of Agni. Minus Ushna, Agni doesn't exist. Fire is supposed to be hot. There is no cold fire. Fire is hot. Sun is hot. In summer season, it will be hot only. That's why it's called summer. So, fire is hot. We accept there is no problem. Ice is cold. That is also a fact. Ice always will be. That's why it's called ice. There is hot water, but there is no hot ice. So, ice will be cold. Antarctica will be cold because ice cold. So we accept fire and ice, hot and cold. These are intrinsic. These are natural. Similarly, if the life brings opposite experiences, we have to accept. We have to learn to accept. Learn not to resist and react to it. As we accept fire and cold, similarly, we can accept the opposite experiences also. Why do we resist it? When it comes to me, I resist. When it comes to others, then I am neutral. I am a yogi. I am a balanced person when it comes to others. But whereas when it comes to me, then my balance gets shaken. Therefore, it shows I need to work on that. I need to know to recognize and accept the facts. Therefore, if I can accept the facts, that too, glad acceptance, welcome it, glad acceptance. The glad acceptance is not that without understanding, which is out of understanding. Acceptance out of understanding that it is natural. The pain is our pleasure not caused by anything outside. It is caused by me. I alone am responsible. My own action comes in the form of experiences, whether it is pleasant or unpleasant. my own past action in the form of papam and punya, karma phalam, that alone manifest. That alone manifests in the form of the pleasant or unpleasant situations. So I am the cause. So you are resisting yourself, you being the cause, and you are resisting. You are resisting the palam which you have to undergo. So therefore, that is the reason, that is the cause for any painful experience. Otherwise, pain will not be a pain. If you can put up, then pain will not be a pain. If you can accept with this understanding, then titiksha will be a natural thing. So acceptance, put up means not put up with a morose mind, morose state, morose attitude. Put up with experience gladly. And two important things need to note in this acceptance. First thing is we need not accept things blindly. Need not accept things blindly. Accepting things blindly can lead to frustration. When any painful experiences come, you need not accept it as it comes blindly. Painful, when the experience comes, analyze the cause of the experience. If we can solve it, if we can solve the cause, remove the pain, that one must do. One must do and resolve it. It means that can be changed. That can be changed, must be changed. There is no question that I will not change, I will undergo the pain. Nobody's advises like that. If it can be changed, it must be changed. And you have say over it, therefore you can change. We are talking about that which cannot be changed. What we cannot change, we should learn to accept. What we can change, that which is within our control, that we must change and change our experience also. Even if not deep, if not, we cannot convert the painful into a pleasant experience. At least the painful experiences can be reduced if we have a say over it and if we can change it. The second thing is, when the painful experiences come, I do not lament saying that it's all my fate. It is all written on my head. It is my prarabdha. It is all written. So, lamenting and undergoing, that also not required. There is a famous Subhashitam. Harina api, Harena api, Brahmana api, Surairapi. Lalata likita reka, Parimashtum na shakyate. That is Lalata likita reka. It is written, the reka, it is written on my head. Nobody can change it. Even if it is Hari, even if it is Hari Har Hara, even if it is Lord Shiva or Vishnu or Brahmaji, nobody can escape the fate. Nobody can escape the fate. So this Subhashitam, we should not quote. It is my fate. Therefore, even Brahmaji, Lord Shiva and Vishnu cannot change the destination. How can he change? You should not quote this Subhashita and say it's all my fate written on my head. No. If you can change, please change it. If you cannot change, then acceptance. That time we can say this, quote this Subhashita. Even Brahmaji cannot change his destination. What about me? Yes. Then it is an acceptance. But if you can change, that we must do. Not complaining that it is all written on my head. If you complain, and if this is your thought pattern, then it is due to the lack of understanding. Therefore, change what can be changed, and let there be no lamentation. If it cannot be changed, have the endurance to bear it. And here, for that, the author gives some examples. Dvandva, some examples of Dvandva. Shita, Ushna, Sukha, Dukkha, Adi. Adi means etc. He just gives only two and says Adi. Shita, Ushna, that is one Dvandva. Sukha, Dukkha, another Dvandva, and says Adi. Adi Padat, we can bring other pairs of opposites also. Whatever is available, whatever our experience, other pairs of opposites also we can bring. Shita, Ushna, Shita is cold, Ushna is hot, heat, and Sukha, pleasant, Dukkha, pain. Adi Padat, you can bring Labha, Alabha, Jaya, Ajaya, any other pairs of opposites, any other this opposite experiences can be brought in. So all these pairs of opposites over which you need to have endurance, whether it is Shita, Ushna or Sukha, Dukkha, whether it is comfort or discomfort. So one need to endure it and have the mental poise, mental composure. One need to have certain samatvam. When Sukha comes or Dukkha comes, when Sukha or Dukkha, any experience comes, one need not get too much elated by Sukha or too much depressed with Dukkham. So one need to have samatvam. Samatvam is this equanimity, approaching them with the same state of mind. If it comes, please welcome it. If it doesn't come, it doesn't matter. Fine. Adi Padat, we can bring in the other factors I said. We can bring in health also. Health, an opposite of health. Anamayam, Amayam. Jaya, Ajaya. Honor, censure. So any pairs of opposites you can bring. And these pairs of opposite can be categorized into two. One is the experience at the physical level, other one is at the mental level. And here the author beautifully says, Shita, Ushna, Sukha, Dukkha. Shita, Ushna, Sukha, Dukkha. That is, Shita, Ushna are the experiences at the physical level. Sukha, Dukkha are the experiences at the mental level. So whether it is a physical experience or a mental experience. Physical pain is called Vyadhi in Sanskritam. A disease is also called Vyadhi. Physical pain because of Shita or Ushna or any other thing, it's called Vyadhi. Mental pain is called Adi. Adi, Mahaprana, Adi. Vyadhihi, Adihi. So therefore only we say Adhi Vyadhi Sagitam Janma. This Janma, this life, which has got both physical as well as mental pain. These are our constant companions. Adi, because physical body is there, therefore body will have pain, pleasure as well as pain. Mind is there, therefore pleasure and pain both will be there. Adhi Vyadhi Sagitam Janma. But the unfortunate thing is when we go through pain, when we go through pleasure experience, we don't complain. When you go through pain, whether it is physical or mental, that becomes a sort of burden. That becomes a sort of burden to our mind. And when your mind is burdened, it becomes very difficult to conduct your life. You cannot engage in any constructive activity. So therefore, when your mind is burdened with dukkham, then how to handle, how to handle, you need to find a method of handling it. You need to method of handling the mental pain. Physical pain can be handled with whatever means you have. If it is Shita or if it is Ushna, then if you can affordable, you can have AC. If it is affordable, or you can whatever you can afford, you can try to avoid. You can try to make yourself comfortable by taking the appropriate action to reduce the Ushna. Similarly, Shita also. So with regard to physical, we have some say and we can do something. What about with regard to the mental pain, that adhi? For that, we need to know the method of handling it. How could the great people, the Purana Purusha, the, the Purusha of Itihasa and Purana, they handle the pain, they handle the problem which they had to face every day? What was their attitude of those great people? The same attitude we need to cultivate. That is the only method by which we can handle pain. In Niti Shatakam, Bhartrhari says, it beautifully says, Sampatsu Mahatam Chittam Bhavati Utpalal Komalam Apatsu Cha Mahashaila Shila Sanghata Karkasham. Sampatsu, in times of prosperity, Mahatam is great people, noble people. The mind of the noble people in times of prosperity, in times of pleasant experiences, the mind of such people becomes Utpala Komalam. Utpala is the lotus or lily, Utpala. Komala is, it is soft. It becomes as soft as the petals of the lotus. The mind becomes in times of prosperity. Sampatsu, Samaye, Kale. Whereas Apatsu, in times of difficulty, what is the state of mind? Mahashaila Shila Sanghata Karkasham. It becomes so hard as the pile of rocks. Mahashaila, the thinking becomes as tough and as tight, as hard as a pile of rocks on a huge mountain. Unshakable. They become unshakable. That is the mind of the great people. Similarly, we need to develop the strength of the mind, taking inspiration from the life of great people, yogis, and their life becomes a role model. Their life becomes a role model, how they handle the situation. The same way. They are all our pain, all our experiences. If you read these stories, our own Puranas, Itihasas, you will find they would have faced the same situation. But how did they handle it? That is a method. The same thing we can adopt in our life with some alteration depending on place and depending on time. When faced with such situation, we can also have some conventional methods to solve the problem in general. There are some conventional methods by which we can handle. How it is generally handled? The first method, generally what we try in finding a solution for the problem of pain. The remedy for pain. The general method, the first method what we do is, we try to bring about the appropriate change in the condition which brings the pain. We try to change the condition by bringing certain changes in the condition. This method is called the remedial method. This method is called the remedial method. Sometimes this remedial method works also. You bring about the changes in the condition which brings the pain by making some remedy. Sometimes the remedial methods also very expensive. It needs expensive not only in terms of money, in terms of time, in terms of energy. Sometimes it is very expensive. And sometimes the present pain may go away, but it will be replaced by another pain. That is also possible. This is the method generally, conventionally we adopt. Knowingly or unknowingly, this is what we do. Like a person carrying a load, heavy load on his right shoulder. Heavy load on his right shoulder. Now, how long he carry the pain, how long he carry the burden, the heavy weight on his right shoulder, it will be paining. So therefore, he switches the load from the right shoulder to the left shoulder. So right shoulder gets some relief. But what happened to the pain? The pain is shifted to the left shoulder. After some time, the left shoulder will pain. So meanwhile, the right shoulder gets relaxed. Again, you have to shift it to the right shoulder. Again, back. This is one conventional method. This method is called the solution approach. Solution approach to the problem. This method we adopt. We can adopt because it gives a certain relief. And if it is not too expensive, if it is doable, then we can do this method, solution approach. Then there is a second method. Generally, what we adopt, because these are the only things we know. The second method is we go on tolerating the pain because there is no remedy or the remedy is too expensive or thinking that the remedy will lead to some other pain. Therefore, we go on tolerating. We are go on tolerating the pain. Whatever may be the reason, we go on experiencing, tolerating the pain. And due to that, what happens? The pressure of pain, it mounts up in our mind and the body. And after a certain time, the time comes, you will no longer be able to handle the pain. The pain becomes it reaches an extreme stage. It becomes intolerable. Then that time your pain will convert into anger. You will convert into anger and you will explode. This is called blowing the top. When you become extremely angry and you make the other person, the helpless person becomes a victim. So this approach is called explosion approach. The first one is solution approach. This is explosion approach. Because you continue to tolerate. You continue to tolerate and suppress the pain and suffer it silently for many years and years. And because of suppression, one day you explode. Either you explode or you get affected terribly in the process. And you end up victimizing yourself. That results in that affects you psychologically also. A lot of psychological damage happens. And sometimes it will push you to think that you become a worthless person, useless person. So therefore, suppression is also not a proper solution because it causes self-damage. So therefore, only the three methods we know. One is solution approach. Second one is explosion approach. You explore on the other person, or you don't explore. You keep on tolerating, and you cause damage to yourself. These are the only three methods. Three methods which we know, and we try to solve the problem. But our Shastram talks about the fourth method, about which we don't talk too much. What is that? That is Bhagavan has given given all of us a capacity to tolerate pain, to withstand pain. That is called endurance, tolerance, titiksha. Everybody has got this tolerance. Nobody can say, I'm intolerant. Everybody has got this tolerance, certain tolerance level. The only difference is that this tolerance level varies from person to person. My tolerance level may be different from your tolerance level. The threshold of my tolerance will be different from yours. The situation remaining the same, I may react differently because my tolerance level is different than yours. One person may explode immediately. Another person, he will undergo the pain silently for some days, and after a few days or few weeks, he will explode. And still some people after a few more days. So there is a gradation. There is a gradation in terms of this tolerance threshold. When the pain is within the tolerance limits, threshold limits, we don't experience it as pain at all because it is within the level. So pain is not pain as long as it is within our threshold. Only it is a pain when it goes beyond the threshold limit. And if you find out a method by which the threshold levels can be increased, if you find method, what is a method? By appropriate understanding or by some sadhana or practice, if you can extend the threshold level, then you will be able to accommodate more pain. So you are increasing your threshold limit. You have done certain sadhana, certain understanding has happened, so by which you can increase the threshold limit. So since your threshold limit has increased, therefore your acceptance of pain also increased, so pain will not cause any dent on you. So if we can increase the threshold, then what is pain to others will not be painful for us, because the feeling of pain is highly subjective. Being subjective, and since your threshold limit has increased, so you will be able to accommodate the pain without any complaint. When the pain falls within the threshold, then we can call it as a situation which we can handle it within the threshold. So no problem, no need to handle also. When it goes beyond the threshold, then only we call it as a pain that needs to be handled. Again, we need to increase the threshold. So as long as we can, we need to increase the threshold. The titiksha level to be increased. So therefore, titiksha means what? Titiksha means increasing the level of endurance, increasing the level of the patience. You can increase by acceptance, by graceful acceptance. The pain has come because of me. Nobody contributed for the pain. When you yourself are the cause of pain, then you will accept. When somebody is a cause, then we react. But when you yourself are the cause for the pain, cause for the situation, then what happens is you accept that gracefully and you offer prayer to reduce it. That is a sadhana. Sadhana is prarthana. Prarthana alone is sadhana. By bringing in Ishvara to your life, in terms of understanding and in terms of offering prayer, you increase your threshold limit. You increase the level of the endurance, the patience, both physically and as well as mentally. So therefore, the fourth method, that is the method which the Shastram recommends, that is increasing the threshold level of our endurance, titiksha. This capacity is what is referred to here as sagishnutvam. Sagishnutvam means endurance, forbearance. At the physical level, it is called endurance. At the mental level, it's called patience. Be patient. Not for the body, for the mind, patience. For the body, endure it. Whether it is endurance to the body, or patience to the mind. These two are put together is called Titiksha, Savishnutva. And here the author, he illustrates this qualification both at the physical and the mental level. As I said, Savishnutvam is at the physical level with regard to Shita and Ushna, with regard to the Shita and Ushna, and with regard to Sukha and Dukkha, it is the Savishnutvam at the mental level. It is at the mental level. So, therefore, Savishnutvam, an important discipline. And in Viveka Chudamani, Bhagavad Pada beautifully he presents this Savishnutvam, Titiksha, Sahanam Sarva Dukkhanam Apratikara Purvakam Chinta Vila Paragitam Satitiksha Nigadyate. This is often quoted, very famous shloka from Viveka Chudamani. Beautifully Bhagavad Pada defines what is Titiksha. Satitiksha Nigadyate. Sahanam Sarva Dukkhanam. Here is very particularly it says Dukkha. In the Tattvabodha, the author says Sukha, Dukkha both. Whereas in the Viveka Chudamani, Bhagavad Pada says Dukkhanam, Sahanam Sarva Dukkhanam. Dukkha means pain, whether it is physical pain or mental pain. Means pain. Dukkha means pain. Dukkha means the experience of pain or the situation which brings you pain. Both are pain only. So whether the pain or the situations which brings you pain, and the pain at the physical or at the emotional level, both. And physical pain, physical or emotional pain, which are caused by these situations only. Therefore, that dukkham, sarva dukkhanam, all the dukkha, all pains, sahanam, patiently, gracefully putting up with. Titiksha means doesn't allowing the dukkham to take over you, putting up with it. Once the dukkha has come, then you have no choice, you have to put up with it. If you can solve the cause of pain, you can do. If not, then since you have no choice, so you have to put up with it. Sahanam. Sahanam, putting up with how? Being objective to the situations which caused you pain, which you are unable to change now. That is what Saganam is. Saganam is being objective. So wherever you can change the situation to make it comfortable, change it. That's what action is for. Action is called for. So Saganam, Sarva Dukkhana. And another important thing is Apratikara Purvakam. Apratikara means no tit for tat. No eye for eye approach. That is no revengeful response. If a person has caused you pain, intentionally, deliberately, then have the patience to put up with that. Because a person is not with himself. There we need to have a two-step response. That is, one is the person action. Second thing is the background of the person, why the person reacts. Even our close relationship also sometimes they react. What is the cause of the reaction? If you understand the cause of their reaction, then we accept the person. We have to look at the person objectively, not just only the physical reaction of the person. If we look at only the physical reaction of the person, we also will react, then the situation becomes more and more complicated. One is what we perceive at the physical level. Second thing is the background because of which the person reacts. If we have this two-step response, then there will not be eye for eye situation. There will not be a revengeful response. That is what is Bhagavad Pada says, Apratikara Purvakam. They have to be objectively, compassionately dealt with, without pratikara. Pratikara it's a mechanical response. It's a natural response. It's a natural response for us. The revenge is a natural response. revengeful action to one who wrongs you. That is pratikara, that is natural for us. But here, a response which comes from understanding and compassion, that is called apratikara. Apratikara purvakam. And chinta vilapa ragitam. Chinta means, chinta is complaining, concern, anxiety. So not complaining about the problem again and again. No chinta and no vilapa. Chinta is the dwelling on the difficulty, concern. Vilapa is lamenting, all the time lamenting about that, the problem, the situation. Absence of that, chinta vilapa ragitam, without any chinta, without concern or lamenting about the situation, and not having the revengeful attitude or response, saganam sarva dukkhanam, putting up with all the dukkha, the pain, that is called titiksha. Sa titiksha nigadyate. Iti Bhagavad Gita beautifully gives the definition of titiksha. And this titiksha is important for a spiritual, a sadhaka. And in Gita, Bhagavan Krishna says, Matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkhadaha. Krishna, in the beginning itself, he tells Arjuna, the sukha dukkha, which all are natural. Matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkhadaha. And they are agama payinaha. Agama payino nityaha tan titikshasva bharata. In the beginning of the is Upadesha itself, Krishna says Arjuna, titiksha, you have to endure, sa titiksha. They are agama painaha, tan titikshasva bharata. Hey Bharata, hey Arjuna, tan sarvan titikshasva. You need to have endurance, you need to endure it. Put up with all the experience, sukham and dukkham. Sukha dukkha anubhava, which the sense objects, sense objects bring it to your sense organs. You have to put up with that because they come and go. They are not permanent. They are agama payinaha. They come and go. They come and go. All the experiences which the sense organs bring in from the sense objects, they perceive. They are agama payinaha. They come and go. They are anityaha. They are not permanent because they come and go. Therefore, you need to have titiksha. Only when titiksha is there, only when titiksha is there, then only the shastra shravanam also is possible. When titiksha is not there, then listening to shastram also will not happen. Your mind will not be present because occupied with something else, some other problem or some other pain. Or even if it is a pleasant experience, that will occupy. So the mind will not be available if you don't have titiksha. And as a sadhaka, as a jignasu, for us, titiksha is all the more important. And therefore, increasing the level of tolerance, increasing the threshold debate. Whatever sadhanam which we can do, which are at our disposal, that one we must take up and do. And therefore, titiksha being an important qualification, important discipline, the author which he mentions as titiksha here. And after titiksha, the next important discipline is shraddha. Shraddha kidrishi. What is shraddha? That we will talk about in the next class. So we stop here. Om Purnamadav Purnamidham Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
धन्यवाद गुरुजी.
धन्यवाद गुरुजी.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ.
धन्यवाद गुरुजी.